to hear that. Okay.
I have a similar story.
Yeah.
He lives on the farm still too. No, I don't. But my mom did. Sweet.
Okay. Well, there's something to be said for growing up out there. Were we on the mixture problem when we stopped?
Yes.
So we're on H.
What is H?
All right, so everybody, we are on page 14, and this is H. All right, everybody's listening. Now, amount times percent plus amount times percent equals amount times percent. Now, I'm sure you already have that written down, but I want you to write it down again. Chris?
Is this what you guys did on Wednesday?
This is where we stopped last time we were together. Was that Wednesday? I don't remember. Okay.
So you should watch the video.
Yes, indeed. That's why we make them, so you can watch them. Now, the nice thing about this little formula is that there are 6 numbers in it, but every single one of these problems will give you 4 of them. Okay? So what are the 4 that we have? Well, we know we have 12% lemonade, so I'm putting that in for a percent here. I know I have 20% lemonade, so I'm putting that in here. And I know I'm going to end up with 18%. This is what you end up with. This is the final mixture, and it's going to be 18%. Notice that when I put the percentages into the problem, I put them in as decimals. We never ever use the actual percentage. It's always decimals. Okay? Now, there's one other number in the problem that I know. You see it? What is it? 18 gallons. That is an amount. Deshanti, you okay back there, honey? Oh, okay. What does the 18 go with? Which of these parentheses do I put the 18 in? The middle one. Because it says 18 gallons of 20%. So does everybody understand why it's there?
Yeah.
Now it also says how much 12%. So right there's X. I don't have any idea how much 12% I'm going to have. So I'm going to call that X. Now you're saying, okay, Miss Ford, I'm with you on all that, but what am I going to put in here? 18 plus X. Now before you get confused, just stop and think about it. Here's your bucket. You're dumping in 18 gallons and you're dumping in X gallons. So how much do you have altogether? 18 plus X. The 2 added together. The total amount you put in there. All right, so now we'll get our calculators out and we'll start simplifying. Am I keeping you up, Ethan?
Yes.
Well, I guess it's good that you're awake.
My brain just needs some air.
Alright, so I did my distributive property. I used my calculator to help me multiply the decimals. And now I'm going to put all the X's on one side and start solving. Now, some of you are going to do this in your head, and I think that's awesome because you should be able to do this subtraction in your head. But be careful. When you subtract 0.18 minus 0.12, you don't get 0.6. What do you get? 0.06. So if you're uncomfortable with that, do it on your calculator. You get 0.06. Alright, so then I'll subtract, what do I get over here? 0.36. Alright, somebody check that. I did it in my head, probably should have done it on the calculator. What do you think? Is that right? Okay, so what does that mean? 6 what? What is that? 6. What did X stand for? The amount, so it's gallons. 6 gallons of 12% lemonade is how much you need to mix in here. Turn the page, let's try another one. this one is set up a little bit differently, but the formula is still the same. Amount times percent plus amount times percent equals amount times percent. Now, 6 numbers. Let's see if we can fill them in. What are you gonna put here? .22. What are you gonna put here? 0.74. And what are you gonna put here? 0.50 or 0.5? Those are your percentages. You're mixing these two to end up with this. Now, there's one more number you gotta put in. What's the other number you're gonna put in? 100. And where does the 100 go? With the 50. It goes down here this time. So I still don't know what this one is. I always call my first one X if I don't know what it is. Because I don't know what it is, so I'll call it X. Now this one I need you to think a little bit. Alright? What's that other parentheses going to be? What? Well, be careful, because last time I knew that number. And this was 18 plus X. Now, 100 is the total. So this time, this will be, bingo, Marley Claiborne, 100 minus X. Here's the deal. Stop and think about it for a second. These two are getting mixed together to add up to 100, right? That's what's happening. So think of like okay, suppose I'm going to mix them up and get 100. If this hand has 30, how much will this hand have to have if I'm going to have 100? 70. And how'd you get 70? You took 100 minus 30. So if this is X, then I'm going to have to mix in 100 minus X to end up with 100. So when it was here, the total is these two added together. That's what the total is. This time I knew this was 100, so this had to be 100 minus, because it's a smaller number. We're going backwards. All right, so we have 0.22x plus 74 minus 0.74x equal 250. Now again, if you want to use a calculator for this, please do, if you do not trust your arithmetic. I'm going to risk my arithmetic here. Let's see. Negative 0.52x equals negative 24. So you tell me if I made a mistake. I got about 46.15. Is it gallons again? Yep. What do you think? Is that what you think? Anybody match me on that? You guys that are working ahead? Anybody have a question about that? Next time we're together, we're going to have a quiz. It's going to have one of those on it. So after we get through with the rest of the sheet, we'll come back and practice another one. Okay? Actually, the quiz is going to have 2 things on it, so we'll practice both of those things. Are we good? Everybody's good. No questions. All right, then let's look at the last 2 problems. This stuff down at the bottom is 2.1, so we're stopping after the typed part, okay? The rest of that we'll get to after our test. All right, so problem J. Bob has $10,000 to invest. put some of it in an account paying 2.5% interest and the rest in an account paying 3% interest. How much did he put in each account if he earns $260 in interest in 1 year? Okay? Now, do you remember from Algebra 1 a little formula that looked like that? I equals PRT.
Yeah.
That's interest. And everybody in here has a bank account, I hope. And so you know what interest is, right? Okay. Interest is what the bank gives you for you putting your money in there. P stands for principal. And the principal is the amount of money you put in. This is the interest rate, the rate of interest. So whether it's 4% or 1.5%, whatever it is. And T stands for the number of years. Okay? Now, let's see what's going on in this problem. Bob has a total of $10,000. He's going to split it up into 2 accounts. One of the accounts is going to pay 2.5% interest. Notice how I wrote that. I didn't write 2.5, I wrote 0.025 because our percentages always go in as decimals. And the rest is 3%. So here are my 2 accounts. Now, he's taking this much money and he's splitting it up into 2 pieces, right? I have no idea how big the pieces are, so I'm going to call that one X. Any guess what the other one would be? It's very much like the problem we just did. They add up to 10,000. So if that one's X, 10,000 minus X. Very, very good. They have to add up to X, or to 10,000, excuse me, to 10,000. So if one is 2,000, the other would be 8,000. You subtract. So this is my principal, this is my rate. And it's for 1 year. It says at the end of 1 year. So I'm going to take X times 0.025 times 1. That's principal times rate times time. And I'm going to add that to 10,000 minus X times rate times time. And that's going to give me my total interest, which is $260. So this is principal rate times time for one account. This is principal times rate times time for the other account. And all together, that is added together, I get 260. So this will be 0.025x. I can do that one. Okay, this will be 300. Again, use your calculator if you need to. Somewhere that seems like a very small amount of money. Did I make a mistake?
No, I think that's right.
Okay. Okay. So what does the question say? How much did he put in each account, Marley?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why did you add the 10,000 minus X times the interest?
Okay, remember the formula if you multiply principal rate and time, you get interest. So I have two different accounts, but added together, they make 260. So this is the first account, principal rate times time. That's the first account. Principal times rate times time. That's the second account. So then I figure those together is 260.
This one would it be 0.005?
Yep, there it is. She found it. It's 0.005. I subtracted wrong. I made exactly the mistake I was warning you guys about. So that should be 8,000. That makes more sense. 8,000? Thank you, Gabby. So one account has $8,000 in it, which means the other account has how much? $2,000 in it, because all together there is 10,000. Hey, those are hard, but you know, you did them in first year algebra, so I know you can do it. You just have to think a little bit. All right, one more, and then we'll be done, and we'll talk about our quiz and start our practice test. All right, one more. Okay, I'm going to erase this and start over again. I'll leave my formula up there. This time we have $3,500 to invest, and we're going to put it in two different accounts. One is paying 4%, and one is paying 3%. How much did she put in each account? So if you remember what we did last time, we'll call this one X, and what will this one be? Be careful. 3,500 minus X. So principal times rate times time plus principal times rate times time has to add up to what in this problem? What's our total?
135.
135. So here's your equation for this problem, and if you're paying attention and not zoning me out because it's a rainy Friday, or at least is it raining? It was kind of earlier. Is it nice now? Cloudy? Cloudy Friday. You just got a football game. You just don't want to be here.
Oh, stop.
I know.
I want to be here.
Thank you, Quincy.
That was my wife.
So principal times rate times time, principal times rate times time equals the total. That is exactly the same equation we had for the last problem, right? Now we'll just hopefully do the arithmetic correctly this time. I'm going to use my calculator this time because obviously my brain doesn't work right. Okay, this time I got 3,000, but I'm going to wait for Gabby to check that for me. If I made another mistake, I'm just going to sit down. Anybody check this for me? Is it right? You got 2,000? 3,000, okay. So the answer to the question is, we're gonna put 3,000 in this account, and I guess that only leaves 500 to go in this account. All right? Note sheet's completed. Good job. Now what I need you to do is do two things for me. I need you to get out a piece of paper, and I need you to get out your practice test. The piece of paper is for the practice quiz we're going to do right now. And then we will begin your practice test. Practice test says at the top, practice test.
There she is.
It's got a bunch of graphs on it, but it says at the top, practice test number 1. So you're getting that out. But first, so that there's no confusion, we're going to do a practice quiz. Next time we are together, we are going to take a quiz. The quiz is going to have 2 problems on it. Okay? Here is the first problem on the quiz. How much 13% solution must be mixed with 12 pints of 21% solution to get a 16% solution? All right, question number 1. How much of this has to be mixed with that to get that? So our general format, amount times percent plus amount times percent equals amount times percent. Huh? I thought you'd do it on a separate sheet because there really isn't room anywhere else to do it. Okay, why am I doing this? Because next time I see you, we're gonna have a, yeah, this is a guaranteed quiz question. Yes, it is. It's a GQQ. Okay, and there's gonna be another one here in a minute.
Not a GSE.
I don't even know what that is. Stop it. All right, so here we go. We got 6 numbers that we're putting into our equation. If you have taken the time to write this, then you know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to put 0.13 here, you're going to put 0.21 here, and you're going to put 0.16 here. You're adding these 2 to get the third one. Now, somewhere you got to put the 12. Where is the 12 going to go? Read the problem. The 12 goes with the 21. This is X. How much? Now here comes the tricky one. You have to think. What's going to go in this last spot? 12 plus X. You are adding them together. You're adding them together. That's the total amount. Am I going to need a calculator on Monday?
Yeah.
Yes. Or whenever I see you again. I'm not sure it's Monday. Is it Monday? I don't know. Alright, now we'll start moving things around. I'm going to double check my subtraction there.
Where did you start?
I'm a little gun shy. Yeah. I subtracted 13 from both sides and subtracted 192. So I got all the X's on one side and everything else on the other side. Now I'll divide by 0.03. And I came out with a nice neat number, didn't I? So how much of it do I need? 20 pints.
So on the quiz, would we write X equals 25?
Mm-hmm. But the answer probably won't be 20. All right, so that's one quiz question. Everybody clear on that? Know what the expectation is. All right, what's the other one? Well, the other one is this. How much will you pay for a $72 sweater if it's on sale for 30% off and there is 7% tax? So there's your second GQQ. We've done these before. Alright, so here we go, that's a 72. So here we go, we start with 72, that's the number we start with. Now, that 72 is going down 30% and up 7%. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So we're gonna multiply by numbers that reflect that. What do we multiply by to show a decrease of 30%? 0.7. Why 0.7? Because if you are taking away 30%, you are keeping 70. Now, what do we multiply by to show an increase of 7%, Robbie? 1.07. And then we just type it all into our calculator, round it off to the nearest cent, just like the store does. And we would be paying $53.93 for our sweater. Okay, so I see you on Monday. Everybody's clear on what the quiz is over, right?
Yeah.
Or Sunday. Yes, you can come to open gym and we can do practice quizzes.
Wasn't it like 1 o'clock?
2 to 4.
2 to 4.
I'm a regular.
I may be stopping at 5 minutes early so I can get to the play.
What's
fair.
the play?
I mean,
Okay, we good on that? All right, practice test. Here we go. We're starting our review. Remember, whatever I don't get done in class is ultimately going to be your responsibility. So I want to get as much done as I can.
Return practice test.
If we don't get them done in class, you do.
Wow.
But that's only happened to us one time.
What's gonna happen to us right now?
Well, we may have time to finish it on Monday.
that's fair.
All right, so here we go. We've done this before. We just took a quiz over it. This graphic. So I'm going to put my original picture here. It looks very familiar. Was this our quiz picture? It looks really familiar. There is our original picture. All right, so what does A do?
Upside down.
A does two things.
Upside down and twice as tall.
It is time for everybody to know the rules. A is upside down. That's what the negative does, upside down. And I heard it out here, the 2 is twice as tall. So kids, you're going to turn it upside down. That means this guy right here is going to be pointing up. But instead of only being 2 tall, he's now going to be 4 tall. So he's upside down and he's 4 tall. This guy is now going down. He's going to be underneath now. And instead of being 3 tall, he's going to be 6. So here we go. There is a picture for A. Now, does anybody have a question about that? upside down, twice as tall. All right, B. A little more complicated. Okay, what does taking the absolute value like this do? That makes everything up. So you are going to have, I'm going to do it in steps. You're going to have your same picture, but instead of that B going down 2, he's going to go, oops, he's going to go up 2. The trapezoid is not changing. Now I'm not done. I am not done. This is not the final answer. This is this much. That's what happens when you take the absolute value of the whole thing. The negative parts get folded up. Now there's another step though. What else do I have to do?
Down 2.
That's got to go down 2. So every point comes down 2. You have graph paper. Take advantage of it. You can count your spaces much easier than I can. So the red one is the answer to the question. Now, anybody have a question about that? Girls, everybody okay over there? Back here, Marley, you got your group okay back here?
Yeah.
So far, so good? All right, here we go. What's happening here? 2 things. I'm going to do it one at a time again because that's easier for me. You can do it however works for you.
Sideways flip.
This is a sideways flip. And up 1. So it's a sideways flip and up 1. All right, I'm going to do the flip first. All that means is it's sideways. So that means this triangle now is over here. And that trapezoid is over here. Now there's the sideways flip. Everybody see that? Now I gotta go up 1. So again, take advantage of your graph paper. Go up 1 block on each of these points. And you should be good. The red is again the answer. It's gonna stink if you miss these problems on the test. Please, please, please. Learn your rules. Okay, so now we're ready for D. Only one thing going on. Anybody remember how to handle the absolute value of X? We mirror, but some of you forgot what you mirror. You mirror the right side onto the left. So the right side stays the same. So I'm going to draw my trapezoid over here. That stays exactly the same. Now I mirror it onto the other side. That is a picture of D. All right, let's get one more done, then you can go. Then we'll have this page done anyway. So now we're doing f of 2x. What does that do?
Half as wide.
Half as wide. So that means that the triangle that was 2 across is now 1 across. So it's a skinny little triangle. And the trapezoid that used to be 6 across is now just 3 across. Same picture, but squished this way. All right, so somebody remind me, Gabby, would you, on Monday before we're starting? Okay? Page 2, yeah. All right, so remember, homework is due Monday. If you do not have it at the beginning of the class period, it's 50% off automatically. So have your homework done.